Welcome back. We started solving this question in the previous video and we solved the first two parts. So we solved A and BI. In this video, we are going to solve the third part, that is BII. So this is our question for this video. Let's start. So we are going to draw the image rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1 of ABCD under a reflection in the y-axis, where A maps to A1, B maps to B1, C maps to C1, and D maps to D1. Now, what does this mean? Let's assume that this is our graph sheet. So we have our x-axis here and we have our y-axis here. In the previous video, we drew rectangle ABCD. In this part of the question, we are being asked to draw the image rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1 of ABCD under a reflection in the y-axis. What this means is that the question is asking us to draw the image rectangle when this rectangle ABCD is reflected in the y-axis. So we are going to draw the image rectangle when this rectangle ABCD is reflected using the y-axis as our mirror line. If we use the y-axis as our mirror line, the image of this rectangle ABCD will be at this point of our graph sheet, and the coordinates of the vertices of this rectangle will be A1, B1, C1, D1. So if we reflect the rectangle ABCD using the y-axis as our mirror line, we will have rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1 as our image rectangle. Now, how do we get the coordinates of A1, B1, C1, D1 so that we can plot them on the graph sheet and join them to get the rectangle? The question says that A will give us A1, B will give us B1, C will give us C1, and D will give us D1. This means that if we want the coordinates of this rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1, we will reflect the point A in the y-axis to get A1. Then we will reflect the point B in the y-axis to get B1. We will reflect the point C in the y-axis to get C1. And then we will reflect the point D in the y-axis to get D1. We already have the coordinates of A, B, C, and D. And we also know how to reflect a point in the y-axis. So doing that won't be difficult at all. So all that we are going to do now is to reflect the point A in the y-axis to get A1, reflect the point B in the y-axis to get B1, reflect the point C in the y-axis to get C1, and then we will reflect the point D in the y-axis to get D1. So let's do that. From the previous videos, we have learned that under a reflection in the y-axis, the rule of the transformation is xy maps to minus xy. We already know the coordinates of A, B, C, and D. A has the coordinates 2, 8, B has the coordinates 2, 4, C has the coordinates 8, 4, and D has the coordinates 8, 8. So we can easily find A1, B1, C1, D1. So when we reflect the point A in the y-axis, the rule of the transformation says that xy will give us minus xy. So when we reflect the point A with coordinates 2, 8 in the y-axis, A1, which is the image of A, will give us minus 2, 8. So we negate the s coordinate. So A1 will have the coordinates minus 2, 8. In the same way, when we reflect the point B with coordinates 2, 4 in the y-axis, the image of B, which is B1, will give us minus 2, 4. When we reflect the point C with coordinates 8, 4 in the y-axis, the image of C, which is C1, will give us minus 8, 4. And when we reflect the point D with coordinates 8, 8 in the y-axis, the image of D, which is D1, will give us minus 8, 8. So we now have the coordinates of A1, B1, C1, D1. We can plot them on the graph sheet and join them to get the image rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1. Let's do that. So at this point, we already have rectangle A, B, C, D on the graph sheet. We are going to draw rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1. A1 has the coordinates -2, 8. So -2 on the x-axis, 8 on the y-axis. You have that here. B1 has the coordinates -2, 4. -2 on the x-axis, 4 on the y-axis. We have that here. C1 has the coordinates -8, 4. So -8 on the x-axis, 4 on the y-axis. We have that here. And D1 has the coordinates -8, 8. -8 on the x-axis, 8 on the y-axis. We have that here. We can now join them with a straight line to get rectangle A1, B1, C1, D1. The question said that we should indicate the vertices clearly, so you write the coordinates of each vertex against it. So we have A1 here with coordinates -2, 8. We have B1 with coordinates -2, 4. We have C1 with coordinates -8, 4. And D1 with coordinates -8, 8. So we have now solved the third part of the question. The fourth part of our question says that we should draw the image rectangle A2, B2, C2, D2 of A1, B1, C1, D1 under a reflection in the line y is equal to 1, where A1 maps to A2, B1 maps to B2, C1 maps to C2, and D1 maps to D2. We are going to do that in the next video. So see you in the next video, and let's continue with the solution. Bye bye.